quiet before the empty shelves. The first 72 hours of a true supply chain collapse aren't actually chaotic. They're quiet, uncomfortably quiet. If a major disruption hit this week, a natural disaster, a cyber attack on logistics, a spike in regional conflict, most people wouldn't see it coming. They go to work, check their phones, maybe notice a headline about shipping delays. By the time the realization hits the general public, the opportunity to prepare has already vanished. We've seen the patterns. We saw them in 2020, and we see them every time a hurricane path is projected. But 2026 presents a different set of variables. Our just-in-time delivery systems are leaner than ever, and our reliance on global imports has reached a tipping point. Imagine waking up on a Tuesday. You head to the store and notice the produce section looks a little thin. No big deal. By Thursday, the grain aisle is a ghost town. By Saturday, people are arguing over the last bag of flour. Most people think they have time. They think the system has a backup plan for them. It doesn't. We're going to look at the specific foods that disappear from shelves first, and why the things you think you should buy are often the wrong choices. There's one item, something almost everyone has in their pantry right now, that will become more valuable than gold within 14 days. But first, we need to talk about the illusion of the grocery store. 1. The dairy dead end. Most people prepare for a crisis by thinking about dinner, meat and potatoes. They completely overlooks the refrigerated clock. Dairy is the first domino to fall. In any power instability or transport halt, milk, butter, and yogurt are pulled from shelves. Not because they've sold out, but because they've spoiled. Our dairy supply chain relies on a precise, temperature-controlled cycle running 24 hours a day. If the trucks stop for 48 hours, the cycle breaks. During the 2021 Texas grid failure, dairy processors dumped millions of gallons of milk because they couldn't move it, while shelves miles away sat empty. Fragile and rigid in equal measure. Tactical advice: don't stock fresh milk. Focus on full cream powdered milk and ghee. Powdered milk. Full cream only. Non-fat tastes like chalk and lacks the fats your brain needs under stress. Ghee. Shelf stable for years. All the fat and flavor of butter. No refrigerator required. Imagine trying to comfort a child 3 days into a blackout. A splash of milk and coffee or butter on bread isn't just calories. It's normalcy. And normalcy is a resource. But dairy is just the beginning. The real shock comes when you realize the most basic ingredient in your kitchen, the one that makes everything else edible, is one of the hardest to find once borders tighten. 2. The Wheat Mirage. Everyone knows the bread and milk run. But in a real disruption, bread won't just be expensive. It will be gone. And buying loaves is a mistake. Bread lasts 7 days before it becomes a science project. Global grain markets are already shifting. Export restrictions are becoming the norm. When countries get nervous, they stop shipping wheat. When the world's breadbasket closes its doors, your local bakery closes its ovens. Tactical advice: stop buying bread for storage. Buy hard red wheat berries or vacuum-sealed all-purpose flour. Wheat berries, stored in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. They last 25 to 30 years. You'll need a manual hand grinder. The secret staple: vital wheat gluten. 1 tablespoon added to lower quality flour produces high quality bread even when supplies are thin. Your local grocery store's bread aisle holds enough stock for maybe 400 families for 2 days. Your neighborhood has thousands. By the time you see the news, the bread is gone. Wheat is a filler, but it's fat that keeps you alive. And there's one specific fat that 90% of people forget to stock. 3. The Great Oil Exhaustion. People stock rice and beans smart, but they forget you cannot survive long term on protein and carbs alone. You need lipids. Cooking oils will be among the first items to experience hidden shortages. They're processed far from where crops are grown, relying on multiple shipping layers. And most people assume oil lasts forever. It doesn't. Vegetable oils go rancid within 12 to 18 months. Rancid oil in a crisis means illness and poor nutrient absorption. Tactical advice: coconut oil. Highly resistant to rancidity, lasts 2 to 3 years at room temperature, calorie dense, and doubles as a skincare product. Canned lard or tallow. Don't fear animal fats. They're historically the backbone of human survival. Shelf-stable and energy-rich for physical labor. A bowl of white rice without fat is bland starch. Add a tablespoon of coconut oil and salt, and it becomes a meal that provides sustained energy. The difference between starving full and actually being fueled. Even with fats and grains covered, there's a biological wall you'll hit within the first week: the caffeine crash. 4. The caffeine collapse. This sounds like a luxury problem. It isn't. In a survival situation, morale is a resource, and 75% of the population is chemically dependent on caffeine. Coffee is almost entirely imported. Climate shifts and labor shortages in South America and Vietnam have thinned the surplus to its lowest point in decades. One shipping lane closure or port strike turns a $10 bag into a $50 luxury. When the supply chain breaks, you aren't just dealing with a shortage. You're dealing with a population in active withdrawal while trying to manage a crisis. Tactical advice: instant coffee, lightweight, requires minimal fuel, lasts years. Whole beans in mylar, retain oils longer than pre-ground. Black tea bags, incredibly shelf-stable, takes up almost no space. Picture 3 a.m. on day 3. You've spent the day hauling water because the pumps are down. Your head is pounding from withdrawal. Your focus is slipping. A single cup of coffee isn't a treat. It's a tool for alertness. Caffeine keeps you awake, but there's one mineral that keeps your body from shutting down entirely. One our ancestors used to start wars over. 5. The salt scarcity. I have a shaker in the cupboard. Wrong. In a survival scenario, you aren't just seasoning food. You're preserving it, replacing electrolytes lost to sweat and stress, and curing meat. 1 pound of salt gives you about a week of utility. Without enough of it, muscles cramp, heart rhythm falters, and clear thinking becomes impossible. Tactical advice: buy the 25-pound bags of sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. It's cheap right now. Avoid table salt with anti-caking agents if you plan to ferment or cure. Get the pure stuff. Salt doesn't expire, ever. Keep it dry, and it will be as good in 2050 as it is today. Imagine a neighbor has extra meat they can't freeze because the power is out. Without salt, that meat is gone in 24 hours. With salt, it's food for a month. Salt is the time machine of food. It moves calories from today into the future. Salt preserves your food, but it won't preserve your immune system. As weeks pass, a new threat emerges: hidden hunger for vitamins. 6. The canned fruit vacuum. When things go wrong, people hoard heavy cans. Beans, soups, stews. They completely ignore canned fruit. Fresh produce disappears within days of a disruption. Without it, vitamin C intake collapses. Canned peaches, pineapples, and pears will vanish first because they're the comfort foods people grab at the last second. Unlike grains, fruit isn't a strategic reserve held by governments. It's a niche supply chain that dries up fast. Tactical advice: stock fruit in 100% juice, not heavy syrup. The juice itself provides hydration and electrolytes. Freeze-dried fruit, the gold standard if budget allows. Weighs almost nothing, retains nearly all nutrients. After 2 weeks of rice, beans, and salty canned meat, your body will crave acidity and sweetness. Opening a can of pineapple mid-crisis isn't just nutrition, it's a psychological reset. It reminds you of the world as it should be. Now, for the protein trap. People think 20 cans of tuna makes them ready. In 2026, tuna might be the most dangerous thing in your pantry. 7. The protein trap. Tuna is cheap, protein dense, and lasts, but you cannot eat it daily without risking heavy metal poisoning, especially when your liver is already working overtime under stress. When meat counters go dark, everyone pivots to canned fish. Shelves strip in hours. Tactical advice: look at what people are afraid of. Canned sardines and mackerel. Lower on the food chain, far less mercury. Packed with omega-3s essential for brain function and inflammation control. Canned chicken. Versatile, universally liked, including by children. Canned corned beef. High fat, high iron. Exactly what you need when doing more physical labor than usual. Think about dinner on day 10. A can of tuna is fine, but corned beef hash, fried up with freshly ground wheat berries, that's a real meal. It gives you the staying power to handle tomorrow. There's one final item, small, cheap, and the most versatile medicine food in existence. Without it, your food storage will eventually become your enemy. 8. The Condiment Blackout. Most people nail the macros: calories, protein, carbs. They forget the micro utility. Appetite fatigue is a real condition where your body begins to reject monotonous food. You have 50 pounds of rice, but can't bring yourself to swallow another bite. In historical sieges and long depressions, spices and condiments became more expensive than the food they seasoned. The first things deprioritized when fuel is tight. Stock the big three: honey, apple cider vinegar, and hot sauce. Honey never spoils. Antibacterial, sweetener, quick energy. Apple cider vinegar, preservation, digestive health, cleaning. Hot sauce, capsaicin, boosts metabolism and masks the taste of off or boring food. A dash of hot sauce on survival bread you made yourself changes the entire experience. The difference between enduring a meal and enjoying it. 9. The water catalyst. All the food in the world means nothing if the tap stops running. Without a water plan, your pantry is just a pile of dry bricks. You need phase 2 and phase 3. Tactical advice: 55-gallon drum. If you have the space, this is non-negotiable. Gravity-fed filters, Berkey Sawyer. Turn rainwater or stream water into cooking-grade water on site. Unscented bleach. A few drops sanitize a gallon. Rotate every 6 to 12 months. It has a shelf life. Have you ever carried 5 gallons of water for a mile? That's 40 pounds. It's exhausting. The best water strategy is having the tools to treat it where you already are. The soon coming reality. It's recognizing that our modern supply chain wasn't designed to be unbreakable. It was designed to be efficient, or a decade of freeze-dried astronaut food. Start with the salt. Get the extra oil. Buy the wheat. Do it quietly, do it slowly, but do it now. Because the first 72 hours of a crisis aren't chaotic, they're quiet. And in that silence, you want to be the family that already has what they need, not the one wondering where the next meal is coming from. Look at your pantry today, not as a collection of groceries, but as a life support system. What's missing? Fix it while the lights are still on.